She fell from the stars. Into his apartment. The sky above Mars 12 was dark, but not quiet. A small cargo ship zipped through the ruined orbit of a forgotten war zone. Inside it, one man hummed to himself, tapping on the dusty dashboard. His name was Jack Renner, ex-soldier, now a space junk scavenger. Not exactly the hero type, unless heroes wore mismatched socks and argued with coffee machines. "Ship AI," Jack called, sipping cold coffee. "Scan for scrap. We need rent. And maybe something shiny to sell." "Scanning," the robotic voice replied in its usual bored tone. "Unidentified signal. Wreckage ahead," Jack grinned. "Bingo." He followed the signal down to a small, broken alien vessel, half buried in the red dust of the moon's surface. It looked old, but not empty. He landed nearby, grabbed his plasma cutter, and stepped out into the silence. As Jack walked closer, he saw strange marks on the hull. Burn scars, bullet holes. The ship had been shot down. Not just broken, attacked. Inside he found crates, locked, Jack's favorite kind. With a little brute force, and a bit of cursing, one crate popped open. And then, he froze. It wasn't scrap. It wasn't even equipment. It was a girl. She looked maybe 20. Her skin was pale blue, her hair silver like moonlight. She was curled up inside the crate, weak and barely breathing. Chains wrapped around her arms and ankles. A shock collar blinked red around her neck. "Whoa," Jack whispered, stunned. "What the hell?" Her eyes fluttered open, bright violet, glowing faintly. She looked straight at him. And then she whispered one word. "Run." Before Jack could ask anything, alarms screamed on his ship. Motion sensors, incoming ships. "Not friendly ones, slavers," the ship AI said. 3 vessels, no ID, armed. Jack didn't wait. He scooped the girl into his arms, dropped his coffee, rip, and ran like hell. Back on his ship, engines fired. And they launched into the sky just as red blaster bolts rained down from above. The whole moon lit up behind them. Jack didn't look back. "Medical scan," he shouted. "Is she dying?" "Unclear," the AI replied. "She's not human. Hybrid detected. Energy levels unstable." "Perfect," Jack muttered, setting her down on his bed. "I save a half-dead alien girl with mystery DNA and a kill-me necklace. Classic Tuesday." Hours passed. Jack cleaned her wounds, removed the collar. He waited. She didn't speak. He gave her his blanket. She took it, stared at him like he was a puzzle she didn't trust, then finally slept. Jack, too tired to care, fell asleep on the couch. Next morning, he woke up to a loud crash. He rushed to his room. There she was, standing, fully awake, wearing one of his shirts wrong way around, holding a kitchen knife like a sword. She pointed it at him. "Where am I?" she asked, her voice low and strange. "You're safe," Jack said, raising his hands. "And that's my favorite shirt. Please don't stab me in it." She didn't laugh. Instead, she looked around. Her eyes scanned the walls, the furniture, the window showing stars outside. Then she whispered, "Not a lab, not a cell," Jack frowned. "What lab?" She didn't answer. "What's your name?" He asked softly. She hesitated. "Zira." "I'm Jack," he said. "I found you in a crate, remember? You told me to run." "Good call, by the way." She blinked. "You didn't sell me." "Nope." "Why?" Jack shrugged. "Didn't feel right. I don't sell people. Or blue, space people. Even ones who break my microwave." He pointed. The microwave behind her had sparks coming out of it. Zira tilted her head. "It tried to attack me," Jack sighed. "Yeah, it does that sometimes." That night, he sat on the floor across from her, sharing noodles from one bowl. Zira ate like she hadn't eaten in days. Maybe weeks. She finally looked at him. "I'm not safe here," she said. "Neither am I," Jack replied, leaning back. "But I guess we'll deal with that together." Outside, stars blinked in silence. Inside, A human and an alien sat quietly, both unsure, both hunted, both wondering what came next. And in the corner, Jack's ship AI muttered, "By the way, bounty just updated. She's worth 6 million credits, dead or alive." Jack stared at Zira. Zira looked back. Neither of them said a word. Asterisk. The alien girl who hates shirts. Asterisk. Jack woke up to the sound of something breaking. Again, he walked into the tiny kitchen of his ship and stopped dead in his tracks. There she was, Zira, the mysterious alien girl he had rescued from a crate, standing like a queen who had just discovered toast, holding a piece of burnt bread with a confused look. The toaster beside her was smoking. "I think it died," she said calmly. "You killed my toaster," Jack groaned. "That toaster was older than me." She looked at him. It tried to speak. Then it screamed, so I ended it. Jack sighed. "You ended a 12-credit toaster. I hope you sleep well tonight, toaster killer." She didn't smile. Still no sense of humor. Still glowing purple eyes. Still wearing his shirt, which was about 4 sizes too big and backward. And still no idea how she got here. For the next few days, Zira moved through Jack's ship like a ghost with trust issues. She wouldn't sleep unless the door was locked. She wouldn't wear normal clothes. "Too human," she said. She refused to eat anything that didn't glow or move. Jack tried to keep things light. That was his thing. Jokes, sarcasm, pretending everything was fine. But deep down he was worried. Zira was powerful, stronger than any alien he'd ever met. She could lift things with her mind, melt locks with her fingers. And once, when startled, she'd accidentally sent his ship's bathroom door flying into space. She wasn't just dangerous. She was scared, and that made her unpredictable. One night, while Jack was half asleep on the pilot chair, the ship AI chimed. "New alert. Bounty updated." Jack rubbed his eyes. "Let me guess. Someone wants my head again?" "No. Your passengers," the AI replied. "Name, Zira. Classified hybrid. Genetic weapon. Wanted across 4-star systems." Jack leaned forward. "Reward, 12 million credits. Dead or alive." He felt cold. He found her sitting on the floor of the storage bay, legs crossed, eyes closed. Some kind of energy pulsed around her, soft purple light like fog. "Zira," he said carefully. "We need to talk." She opened her eyes. No light. Just silence. "You saw it," she said flatly. "The bounty? Yeah. Are you going to sell me?" Jack didn't answer right away. He just sat down beside her. "No," he said finally. "But I'd like to know why you're worth more than most planets." She looked down at her hands. Then at the stars outside the window. "I wasn't born. I was built," she whispered. Jack blinked. "You mean, like a clone?" "No, worse." She began to explain. Zira was created in a lab, not alien. Not human, both. A weapon made by a rogue human group, Project Siren, designed to infiltrate alien empires and destroy from within. But she escaped, barely. "I was one of 12, she said. "The others didn't survive the experiments." Jack swallowed hard. "What kind of experiments?" "They tried to turn emotion into power," she said. "Fear, anger, pain. Every time I cried, they measured it. Every time I screamed, they cheered." Jack felt sick. "You ever want to burn the galaxy down?" she asked suddenly. "Because I do, every day." Jack stood up and walked away. He needed air, space, a drink, something. Instead, he found his comms console blinking red. Incoming call. Unregistered signal. He hesitated, then answered. A face appeared on the screen. A woman, cold eyes. "Military jacket. Jack Renner," she said. "You're harboring a fugitive. Turn her in, or you won't live to regret it." Jack narrowed his eyes. "And you are?" "Agent Vale, Earth Federation Intelligence." Jack laughed dryly. "Oh, great. The government wants to kill me now, too. What is it, Monday?" Vale leaned forward. You don't understand what she is. That thing in your ship? It's not a girl, it's a bomb. The screen cut out. Jack went back to Zira. She was sitting exactly where he left her. Still, quiet. Watching him. You've got the government on your tail, he said. They called you a bomb. She didn't blink. They built me to be one. So why didn't you explode? She looked at him with those glowing violet eyes. Because you opened the crate, she said. And you didn't scream. That night, Zira entered Jack's room while he was asleep on the floor. She sat on the edge of the bed. Watching him, she didn't understand humans, their kindness, their lies, their hearts, but this one was different. He didn't touch her, didn't fear her, didn't sell her. He made bad jokes. He argued with his AI. He cared. She leaned down, gently touched his arm, and whispered a word she hadn't said in years. Thank you. The next morning, Jack woke up to alarms. Hostiles inbound, the AI shouted. Unmarked ship, weapons hot. Eta, 2 minutes. Jack sat up fast. Zira? She was already at the cockpit, eyes glowing, face calm. I'll handle it, she said. Jack stared. Wait, what does that mean? But she was already moving. Toward the airlock, toward the attackers. No fear in her step. Just quiet rage. They're coming. Jack had seen death before. He'd been a soldier once. Fought in the Outer Rim Wars. Watched friends turn into smoke. Lost more than he'd ever admit. But this was different. Zira stood at the airlock door. Calm. Still. Her silver hair floating gently. Like there was wind where there wasn't. Her eyes glowed like burning suns. And strange markings lit up along her arms. Symbols, not tattoos. Shifting and moving like liquid light. Zira. Jack said, grabbing her arm. You don't have to go out there. I do, she replied. They're here for me, not you. I don't care, Jack snapped. We get out of this together, or we don't get out at all. She looked at him then, really looked. And for the first time, her expression softened. You are strange, she said, for a human. Then the door hissed open. Asterisk. The enemy ship hovered above them, sleek, black, silent. No warning shots, no hails. Just an open ramp and boots stomping down it. 4 soldiers. Unmarked armor, faces covered. Weapons up. One of them stepped forward. Zira of Siren Class 7. By order of Earth Intelligence Command, you are to be taken into custody. If you resist. She didn't wait. A pulse of light exploded from her body. The nearest soldier was thrown 50 feet into the air. Another screamed as his rifle bent in half like rubber. The third tried to run. Didn't make it. Jack watched, stunned, as Zira moved like a storm. Fast, brutal, silent. Her powers weren't just raw energy. They were precision. Every step, every flick of her hand was lethal. Controlled. Terrifying. When it was over, all 4 soldiers lay unconscious. One of them was still twitching. Jack wasn't sure if he was alive or just glitching. Zira stood in the middle of the chaos. Her chest rising and falling slowly. No emotion on her face. Jack stepped forward. Remind me never to make you mad. She turned to him. They weren't here to arrest me. They were here to extract data from my body, alive or dead. Jack blinked. How do you know? She held up a small device she'd ripped from one soldier's belt. It blinked. Labeled DNA extraction tool. Active. Jack frowned. They're not trying to kill you. They're trying to copy you. Zira nodded. Project Siren never ended. Back aboard the ship, Jack ran a full scan on the device. What he found made his stomach turn. Inside was genetic mapping data. Not just Zira's, but hundreds of files. Dozens of names. Most were labeled deceased. Failed prototype. Zira stared at the list in silence. Jack looked at her. They didn't just build you. They built an army, or tried to. Zira whispered. I was the only one who lived long enough to escape. Jack clenched his jaw. And now they want you back to try again. Later that night, Jack opened a bottle of something too strong and too old. Sat on the floor of the ship, back against the engine room wall. Zira sat opposite, knees drawn up, watching him with unreadable eyes. You ever wonder, Jack said slowly, what kind of people create something like you? And then try to erase it like a bad file. Zira nodded. I used to think I was a mistake. Now I know, I was a blueprint. Jack raised his bottle, to being someone else's bad idea. She hesitated, then raised her cup too. They drank. In silence. The peace didn't last at exactly 0300 hours. The ship lights flickered. The AI spoke up. Warning, unauthorized access to comms system. Tracking beacon activated. You've been pinged. Jack jumped up. How the hell? Zira was already moving. She opened a panel on the wall. Behind it, a small round metal object blinking. Red dot. She yanked it out. Crushed it with one hand. Jack stared. That wasn't mine. No, she said. It was his. Whose? Zira's face darkened. The man who built me. Now it was Jack's turn to sit down. Okay, now you. Talk, who is he? Zira didn't want to speak the name, but she did. Dr. Elias Kale, former Earth Federation Genetic Division. Head of Project Siren. Jack's heart nearly stopped. I've heard that name, he whispered. He went dark 10 years ago. Vanished. Everyone said he was dead. He's not, Zira said. He's watching, always watching. Jack opened a hidden compartment under his bed, pulled out an old datapad. He hadn't looked at it in years. Inside, his old mission logs. Classified. Files from his time as a soldier. He scrolled. And stopped. Mission. Clean sweep. Station 7, Moon Ares Delta. Objective. Destroy illegal research facility. Status. Complete. Survivors. None. Notes. Facility linked to Project Siren. Lead scientist presumed dead. Dr. Elias Kale. Jack looked up slowly. I bombed the lab, he whispered. 10 years ago. I thought I ended this. Zira's voice was barely audible. You ended everything except me. Silence hung between them. Until the I broke it. Warning. Long-range signal received. Incoming message from Elias Kale. Jack's. Blood froze. He hit the screen. The face that appeared was older, crueler, and colder than Jack remembered. Hollow eyes. Half his skin was metal. His voice was like static. Hello, Zira. Hello, Jack. It's been a long time. Jack snarled. You sick freak. Now, Kale interrupted. Let's be civil. I just want what's mine. She's not yours. Oh, Jack. She was never herself to begin with. Zira stood silently. Kale leaned in. But she will be, soon. The trigger's already in place. Then the screen went black. Jack looked at Zira. What did he mean, trigger? Zira looked terrified. I think he planted a command inside me, a mental one. If I ever get close to someone, it activates. Jack blinked. So what happens now? Her voice cracked. I think I'm going to kill you. Secrets in the stars. Zira sat in the shadows of the ship's medbay, knees tucked to her chest, eyes locked on the blinking star map projected in front of her. She hadn't moved in over an hour. Not since the message. Not since Dr. Elias Kale, the man who built her, told her she was rigged like a weapon. That the closer she got to someone, the more unstable she'd become. That her connection to Jack wasn't just emotional. It was engineered. Jack paced in the engine bay, chewing his thumbnail and talking to himself. Okay, don't panic. Just a remote kill switch embedded in your maybe girlfriend's DNA. That's fine. Totally normal sci-fi romance stuff. The I chimed in dryly. She is currently exhibiting signs of bioneural stress. Power spikes are increasing. Would you like me to prepare the fire suppression system? Jack threw a wrench at the I panel. Missed. It beeped in disapproval. He walked to the medbay. Zira didn't look at him. "I'm dangerous," she said flatly. "You should have left me in the crate." Jack sighed and knelt beside her. "Yeah, probably. But then I wouldn't have anyone to eat my noodles, vaporize my toaster, or ruin my sleep cycle with galactic melodrama." A faint smile tried, and failed, to appear on Zira's lips. "You don't get it," she whispered. "If I lose control again, you die." Jack tilted his head. "Zira, look around. I've survived space battles, bounty hunters, angry AIs, and government calls at 3 a.m. I'm not scared of you. You should be." She stood up, suddenly glowing with a strange energy, faint, like a star on the verge of going nova. Her skin pulsed with it. Her markings, those ancient, alien-looking lines, were reacting. Jack's eyes widened. "ZYR ... Your symbols, they're moving again." "They do that when I'm scared," she said. He took a step closer. "Then let's stop running." They headed to a derelict research outpost floating on the edge of the Tau Draconis belt. It was old, abandoned, quiet. But according to the Federation records, Jack had cracked. This was one of the original data storage nodes for Project Siren. If there were answers, they'd be here. The station lights flickered as they entered. Cold, stale air greeted them. Gravity still worked, barely. The deeper they went, the more it felt like a haunted house. Broken computers, glass tanks, dried blood. Notes scribbled in panic. And then they found it. Room 13DN, a core archive. Inside was a console, still active, still humming. Zira sat at it. Jack watched as her fingers glided across the interface like she'd done it 100 times. "I know this place," she said. "I was here before the escape." The console blinked. Files loaded. Video logs, lab reports, test results. Jack's face went pale. "Zira," he said slowly, "you weren't the first." They watched the footage. Girls, boys, different species. Some older, some younger, some screaming, some begging. All marked Siren class prototype. And all eventually labeled deceased. Except one, Siren -7, Zira. She watched her own file open. Her young self, barely conscious, being strapped to a table. Dr. Kale's voice echoed in the lab footage. "Subject 07 shows exceptional potential. Emotionally unstable, but capable of bonding. Possible behavioral override risk. Recommend trigger conditioning." Zira flinched. Jack's hands curled into fists. "In the event of emotional attachment," Kale continued coldly, "subject will enter defensive kill mode. She will destroy the object of her bond, a failsafe. Love is the trigger. Beautiful, isn't it?" Zira turned off the screen. The silence was louder than the video. Jack was shaking with anger. "He programmed you to kill anyone who cared about you, anyone you cared about." Zira whispered, "That's why I ran. That's why I never stayed." She walked away, eyes brimming. Jack caught up to her at the corridor. "Hey," he said gently. "We're not done." "I am," she said. "You saw the files." "I'm a weapon, a broken one." "You're not broken," Jack said. "You're scared, you're angry, I'm dangerous. You're also someone who saved my life, who makes awful tea, and who still hasn't figured out how to use a spoon." Zira blinked. Jack smiled. "Come on. You can level a building with your mind, but lose a fight with cutlery. That's gotta count for something." Suddenly, alarms blared. The station trembled. The IS voice echoed from Jack's wrist. "Come. Warning. Cloaked vessel detected. They found you." Zira's eyes went wide. Jack swore. "It's Kale. He's here." They ran. Blaster fire tore through the corridors. Soldiers in black armor stormed the station. Not just bounty hunters, these were cleaners, silent, efficient, merciless. Jack and Zira fought back. Together, Zyra's powers lit up the corridors. Walls melted, weapons twisted in midair. She moved like a goddess of chaos, but then the pain hit. She dropped to her knees, clutching her head. No, no. Not now. Her markings blazed out her body, shook. The trigger was activating. Jack rushed to her, but she looked at him with glowing, wild eyes. I can't stop it. She screamed. Suddenly, Jack remembered something from the video logs. Override only works if subject believes the emotional bond is real. He grabbed her face, looked into her eyes. Zyra, listen to me. You are not a weapon. You're not his. She growled. Get away. You're mine, Jack snapped. My choice. My crew. My friend. Her breathing slowed. The glow dimmed. You are not what he made you. You're what you choose to be. Tears welled in her eyes. The energy crackling around her stopped, and just like that, the trigger broke. They escaped through an emergency shuttle bay, leaving the collapsing station behind. No sign of CAEL. No messages. Stars. In silence. Back on Jack's ship, Zyra sat quietly in the co-pilot seat, wrapped in a blanket, holding a hot drink, staring at the stars. I don't know what I am now, she said softly. Jack grinned. You're someone who owes me a new toaster. She laughed just once, and it was real, but far away, in a dark laboratory orbiting a dying sun. Dr. Elias Kale watched the footage. He didn't speak. He didn't blink. He simply turned to the shadowy figure beside him. Begin phase 2, he said. She's awake, the shadow replied. Yes, Kale smiled. But now, so is he. Captured Zyra had started to sleep. Not real sleep, not the deep, peaceful kind Jack always mumbled about, but stillness, rest, a calm between storms. And for a few short days, aboard Jack's ship, she found that quiet. No bounty hunters. No glowing scars. No screams in her head. Just stars. Bad jokes. And Jack, always fixing something that didn't really need fixing. Always pretending not to care when he clearly did. But the quiet didn't last. It never did. They were refueling. On a dusty orbital station near Gliese Prime, small, broken down, half forgotten. Jack said it was off the grid. Which, of course, meant it was crawling with people who really wanted to stay invisible. Zyra stayed aboard the ship. While Jack went out to make a supply run, he didn't come back. 2 hours later, she felt it. Like a needle behind her eyes, something was wrong. She reached for the ship's comm, but it was dead. No response, static. Then she saw it, a boot print in the corridor. Too big to be Jack's, too fresh. Zyra's heart froze. She turned toward the cockpit just in time to see the blast door slam shut. Lockdown initiated. Someone was already on the ship. She spun around. Darkness. Then footsteps. And a voice. Soft, familiar, cold. Hello, Zyra. Out stepped a woman in sleek black armor, face scarred, eyes sharp, blaster drawn. Zyra recognized her instantly. Vale. The ex-girlfriend. Jack never wanted to talk about. Now working for Earth Federation intelligence, and very much not here for a friendly chat. Meanwhile, Jack woke up to pain. His head throbbed. His wrists were cuffed to a chair. His mouth tasted like copper and regret. He was inside a grimy holding cell, rusty walls, flickering lights, and across from him. Kale? Jack spat. I thought I killed you. The half-metal man chuckled from behind the glass. You tried, Dr. Elias Kale said. Unfortunately, your aim was never great. Jack lunged forward, but the cuffs held. What do you want? Kale tilted his head. I want to give you a gift. Answers. And a choice. Back on the ship, Zyra was cornered. Vale moved slowly. Weapon raised but not firing. She wasn't here to kill. Not yet. I warned Jack, Vale said. Told him what you were. A bioweapon. A ghost project that should have stayed buried. Zyra didn't move. He didn't listen. No, Vale said. Because he always thinks with his heart. Zira raised her hand, power crackling at her fingertips. And you don't? Vale smiled. No, I think with orders. She tapped. Her wrist device. Suddenly, Zira's power shut off. She screamed and fell to her knees. Twitching. Vale walked over and kicked her gently onto her back. Modified inhibitor field, she said. Built just for you. Zira gasped, her voice raw. Why betray him? Vale crouched beside her. Because I'm not betraying Jack. You are. You've already started. Zira's vision went dark. Jack stared at Kale through the glass. What do you mean I have a choice? Kale pressed a button. A screen lit up behind him. It showed Zira, unconscious, handcuffed, inside a containment cell. Jack's heart dropped. If you hurt her, I won't, Kale said, unless you make me. He walked over, his metal boots echoing. Jack, you've been lied to. Do you want the truth? Jack glared. From you? Kale smiled. From yourself. The screen changed. A new file, a mission report, labeled Renner. J. Operation Siren Recovery. Commander status. Complicit. Jack read it. And froze. 10 years ago, when Jack was a soldier. He hadn't just bombed the facility. He had escorted the prototypes, protected them. He was part of Siren Extraction Phase 1. He helped move the survivors, including Zira, to Kale's second lab. He hadn't remembered because they'd wiped his mind. Kale stepped closer to the glass. Don't you feel it, Jack? That strange connection between you and Zira? It's not fate, it's design. You were imprinted, bonded to her before the shutdown. Jack shook his head. No, that's not possible. You were her handler, Kale said. Her first, her trigger. Jack fell back into the chair, mind reeling. Zira's trust, her nightmares, her fear of connection. He wasn't just some guy who rescued her. He was the one she ran from, and didn't know why. Until now. Zira woke up in chains again. Her wrists were locked. Her collar was back. The lights above her flickered softly. A voice came through the speaker. Hello again, Zira. Kale, I've missed you. Don't worry, Jack's alive. For now, but he's remembered everything now. Including what he did. To you. She closed her eyes. Tears rolled down. She wanted to hate Jack. She tried. But something inside her, something too stubborn to die, wouldn't let her. Vale entered the cell. Zira looked up. Why are you doing this? Vale leaned close. Because I've seen what you can become. You think Kale wants to use you? She whispered. He's scared of you. We all are. Zira's markings began to glow. Even through the inhibitor. Vale stepped back, alarmed. That's not possible. Zira's voice changed. Low, cold. I've broken every cage you've built. The lights exploded. Jack sat in his cell when the alarms blared. Subject has breached containment. Emergency protocols initiated. He smiled. That's my girl. Kale cursed and slammed the button. But Zira had already disabled the system from the inside. She stormed through the corridors like a living star. Walls bent. Doors shattered. Soldiers ran. She didn't scream. She didn't burn everything. She moved with focus. To the control room. Where Jack waited. His cuffs already snapped. The door blown open by her power. She stood before him, panting, bleeding, eyes wild. You remember? She asked quietly. Jack nodded. I remember everything. And I'm not leaving without you. She stepped closer. He took her hand. Kale watched from a broken screen. Silent. Expression unreadable. Phase 3 begins. He whispered. The price of power. The ship was silent. Too silent. After escaping Kale's lab station, Jack and Zira had gone dark. No signals. No beacon. Just drifting through deep space, wounded, shaken, and unsure of what was real anymore. Zira sat curled up in the medbay, her fingers twitching faintly, the lines on her skin flickering like dying stars. Jack sat nearby watching her, He didn't speak. He didn't have to. He was remembering the missions. The experiments. The moment he looked into her eyes years ago and felt something he didn't understand. A pull that hadn't come from emotion, but from design. He had been part of her past. The handler, the trigger, the weapon's leash. Now, he was the one trying to set her free. Zira opened her eyes, finally breaking the silence. I'm dying. Jack flinched. Don't say that. I can feel it, she whispered. Every time I use my powers now, it gets worse. I burn hotter. Faster. I'm not built to survive this long. Jack shook his head. We'll fix it. She looked at him with sad eyes. There is no fix. I was designed to fight. And die. Just not like this. Jack slammed his fist on the console. No, not this time. He pulled up the stolen files from Kale's lab. He'd been scanning through them for hours, searching for anything. A solution. A cure. A code. Something. And then he found it. Siren Class 08. A prototype after Zira. Never activated. Never deployed. But not marked deceased. Just one word beside. It AWOL. Someone came after you, Jack said. Another siren. Kale didn't destroy her. She disappeared. Zira stared at the screen. That's not possible. I was the last. Jack showed her the image. Blurry, distorted, but clearly female. Black hair. Red eyes. Designation. Kara 08. She might have answers, he said. Maybe she learned how to survive. Zira touched the screen. Should be dangerous. So are you, Jack replied. She looked at him. Let's find her. Asterisk. They traced a signal, a strange repeating frequency buried in the background noise of the galaxy, to a planet. No longer on any official map. Eden 4. Once a terraforming colony. Now a graveyard. The records called it. Abandoned due to biohazard. Perfect place for a living weapon to hide. They landed near the ruins of what once was a city. Trees had overtaken buildings. Vines wrapped around starships like skeletons. Creepy, Jack muttered. I love it. Zira smiled slightly, but her hand hovered near her hip, energy forming instinctively. They moved carefully. No signs of life, until they found the monastery. Yes. A literal monastery, half collapsed, covered in moss, and glowing faintly with residual energy. Inside, it was dark and silent. Until the candles lit themselves. Zira whispered, She's here. A voice echoed from the shadows. You brought the handler. Jack froze. Out stepped Kara 08. She was taller than Zira, sharper. Her markings were black instead of glowing. Her eyes were red, burning like coals. But she was calm, collected. She walked barefoot, as if the earth owed her something. Zira stepped forward. You survived. Kara tilted her head. No, I adapted. The conversation was ice and fire. Kara explained she had severed her programming years ago, broken every override. But to do it, she had to sacrifice her connection to emotion. No joy. No pain, no fear. That's why I'm still alive, Kara said. And why you won't be. Zira's glow flickered. Her breathing faltered. She's unstable, Jack said. She's burning up. She's still connected, Kara replied coldly. To you, that bond, it's poison. That's why. The rest of us were destroyed. Kale wanted perfect weapons, not lovers. Jack stepped between them. She's not a weapon anymore. Kara smiled, a cold, cruel thing. She will be. Suddenly, Kara attacked. She didn't blink. Didn't pause. Just moved, fast as light, strong as a collapsing sun. Zira barely blocked the blow, her powers flaring out in a chaotic wave. Jack was thrown backward, skidding across the floor. The two sirens fought like gods made flesh. The monastery cracked. Around them, walls melted. Light screamed. Zira grunted, barely holding her ground. You were supposed to help me. Kara's voice echoed, I am. By killing what's left of your weakness. But then, The glow stopped. Zira fell. Her body spasmed. Her skin flickered. She was breaking apart. Kara stepped forward. "You're dying, sister. Let me end it." Jack fired his weapon. Useless. Kara flung him aside with a flick. Zira looked up, barely breathing. "I don't want to lose him," she whispered. "You already did," Kara said. "You were never meant to have him." Then a new voice cut through the noise. Veil. Holding up plasma rifle, aimed at Kara. "Step away from her." Kara turned slowly. Veil didn't blink. "You forgot one thing." "What's that?" Kara asked. Veil fired. Direct hit. Kara screamed as the inhibitor round surged through her system, forcing her to her knees. Veil turned to Jack. "You owe me one." Jack blinked. "You followed us?" "I told you I wasn't done with this," she said. "I want Kale taken down too." "And this psycho Barbie?" "Not helping." Zira struggled to her feet. Kara was panting now, still dangerous, still glowing, but weaker, and still smiling. "Even if you kill me," she said, "you can't kill what you are. You'll never escape it." Zira looked at Jack and said, softly, "I don't want to escape it. I want to change it." Then she raised her hand. And for the first time, she didn't attack. She absorbed Kara's power, controlled it, balanced it. Her markings shifted from white-blue to violet-gold, stable, radiant, alive. Kara collapsed, unconscious. Zira stood tall. No longer burning, but glowing. With choice. They left Eden 4 behind. Kara locked in a stasis pod. Veil watching silently. Zira asleep, truly asleep. In the med bay. Jack stared at her through the glass. She wasn't dying anymore, but the look on her face in that final moment, when she saw him and still chose herself, would haunt him forever. In the shadows of deep space. Another transmission. Pulse. Cael. Watching everything. Smiling. "Good girl," he whispered. "Now. Let's see how long she survives phase 4. Zira was no longer just a girl who escaped a cage. She was a storm wrapped in skin. She had tasted death, touched chaos, stolen power, and now she was finally free. Or so she thought. They reached the outer orbit of the dead zone, a region of space left off every map, every chart. No beacons, no signals. Just stars that had forgotten how to shine. That's where Dr. Elias Kale was waiting. Jack stood in the cockpit, watching the void. He hadn't spoken much since Eden 4, since he watched Zira almost die again, since he realized he loved a girl who was never meant to live. Zira stood beside him. She didn't need to read his thoughts. She could feel them. The connection between them was no longer artificial. It was real, and it hurt. Veil monitored the scanners from the back. "We're being watched," she said. Jack nodded. "He wants us to come." "He always did," Zira added. Jack glanced at her. "You don't have to do this." "I do," she said. "Because if I don't, someone else will die. Someone like me. Or worse, someone better." They docked on Oblivion Station, Kale's final lab, hidden inside a hollow asteroid, completely invisible to sensors. The place was alive with humming machinery, lights flickering like a dying heartbeat, and something else. Something growing. Pulse. Inside the main chamber, they found him. Dr. Cael. Part machine, part man, fully unhinged. "You've come home," he said softly. Zira stepped forward. "I was never yours." "Oh, child, you were never not mine." The lights dimmed. Cael gestured, and the room changed. Walls folded away. The floor shifted. And Siren Class 09 rose from a pod. No. She looked like Zira, but taller, stronger, eyes burning. Gold, no emotion, no words. "She is what you were meant to become," Kale said proudly. "No fear, no attachment, no handler. Just evolution." Jack stepped between them. "Zira's not a prototype anymore." Kale smiled. "Then let's put That to the test. The final battle began. Zira versus Siren 09. They clashed with blinding speed. Like gods tearing apart the heavens, Jack and Vale fought their way to the core reactor, trying to shut down Kale's control center. Every second counted. If Siren 09 won, Zira wouldn't just die. She'd be erased. Zira screamed as she was thrown across the chamber. Her back hit steel. Blood in her mouth. Pain in her bones. But she stood again, because she remembered something Jack once said. You're not a weapon. You're someone. That someone would not die here. Siren 09 charged, and Zira let go of the fear, of the programming, of the control. And for the first time, truly, she wasn't fighting to survive. She was fighting to live. Her markings, flared gold and violet, spiraling outward, forming symbols that danced across the air itself. She caught Siren 09 mid-strike and reversed the energy, turning raw power into a quiet, perfect implosion. Boom. Siren 09 fell. But Zira dropped 2. In the control room. Jack found Kale. He held up a detonator. One push, Kale said, and she dies. The failsafe never left her body. You think I didn't plan for this? Jack didn't hesitate. He shot him right in the chest. Kale stumbled, laughed. Too late. He pressed the button. In the main chamber, Zira gasped. The failsafe activated. Her body locked. Power surging out of control. She was about to explode. Jack ran to her, grabbed her, held her. No, you listen to me, not him. Zira looked at him, trembling. I can't stop it. Yes, you can. Because it's your choice now, not his. And then Jack kissed her. The energy around Zira shifted, bent. And broke. The failsafe fried itself. And with one final scream, the energy blasted outwards, tearing through the station, but not destroying it, purifying it. Kale's systems went dark. Siren 09's body melted into light. And Zira collapsed. Hours later, she woke up. In Jack's bed, the same one she had woken up in all those weeks ago, after he pulled her from that crate. Same blanket, same crappy pillow, same idiot staring at her like she was the universe. You're alive, he said. She blinked. Again? He chuckled. 3rd time's the charm. Where's Kale? Dead. Good. She sat up slowly. Looked around. Everything's quiet, she said. Jack nodded. He's gone. The system wiped. The other sirens, all freed. Or at peace. She looked down at her hands. No glow. No markings. Just skin. Just human, or something close. Vale entered. Cleared her throat awkwardly. Not to interrupt your alien cuddle session, but the Federation's offering a full pardon. And a contract. Jack raised an eyebrow. Contract? To train future hybrids, if there ever are any. Which I've strongly advised against. Zira smirked. So, we're not fugitives anymore. Vale smiled. Nope, you're heroes. Freaky, dangerous, unstable ones, but heroes. She turned to leave, then paused. By the way, Jack, I'm not jealous. But if she breaks your heart, I will vaporize her. Zira raised a brow. You can try, Vale smirked. I like her. That night, Jack sat beside Zira under the stars. No alarms. No missions. Just peace. He looked at her. Do you remember, he said, when you fell into my bed? She laughed. I was chained, half dead, not my best look. You had potential. She leaned on his shoulder. So, what now? Jack shrugged. We get a better ship. A toaster that doesn't try to kill you. And maybe a future. Zira nodded. Let's start with the toaster. And as the stars blinked above them, quiet, distant, endless, the girl who was built to be a weapon became something no one ever expected. A survivor, a rebel, a partner, a person. The girl who lived in his bed chose to stay.